How to configure a Cisco router as DHCP server. Overview of the DHCP server. The Cisco IOS DHCP server accepts address assignment requests and renewals and assigns the addresses from predefined groups of addresses contained within DHCP address pools. These address pools can also be configured to supply additional information to the requesting client, such as the IP address of the DNS server, the default router, and other configuration parameters. The Cisco IOS DHCP server can accept broadcasts from locally attached LAN segments or from DHCP requests that have been forwarded by other DHCP relay agents within the network. So this is just an overview from this overview of the DHCP server on Cisco IOS, and I got that from this link here, which I will put under in the comment section of this video. Description. So I'm just going to quickly configure a Cisco router as a DHCP server, and I have this topology. So simple topology. I have a DHCP server, Cisco router acting as a DHCP server, and it's connected to a layer 2 switch in this case, and PC1 is connected to switch 1, and this is just a single VLAN, or I think I'm using VLAN 1 by default, because switch 1 is just using VLAN 1 by default. And PC1 here, this is actually a router acting just a PC1, PC, and of course the iOS is, or OS is Cisco iOS as well. Okay, let me go ahead and configure the DHCP server, and I have SuperPATI opened for both DHCP server and PC1. Okay, so let me just do a show IP interface brief. Yeah, so looks like the interface, which is connected to switch 1, is showing up. That's fine. I can just go ahead and send an IP address first. And just copy and paste this. So the IP address is 10.10.10.254/24. And then I don't have to no-shot it, but I'm going to do it anyway. And let me do that command again, just okay, showing up. Okay, next is, in some cases, DHCP service is not enabled by default. So in this particular version, iOS that I have, DHCP server is not enabled. So I have to enable it first. So you enable it by doing service DHCP, and then this is actually the first step that you have to do when configuring a DHCP server on Cisco iOS. So you have to exclude the IP addresses that you don't want to assign to your clients. So in this case, I'm excluding these IP addresses. So from .250 through .254. And then now I can create a DHCP pool, and I'm naming it as 1. And then now I can configure the network. So in this case, it's a /24 network. So 10.10.10.0/24. And then you can configure your domain name, your domain. I'm just saying Cisco. This is optional, by the way. I don't have to do it. I'm just adding that option. And DNS server, of course. This is something that you need if you want to get to the internet. And next is the default router, which is the IP address that is configured on the interface facing switch 1, right? So gig 0/0. That's my default router. And least time is actually, in this particular version, OS version, it's actually, the default is 1 day. And so I'm going to configure it anyway. And then and save. Okay. Let's verify our configuration. DHCP section DHCP. Okay, so this is the excluded addresses, and this is our DHCP pool, named one, and network, domain name, DNS server, default. So it's not showing us the least one because that's the default. Okay, so if I do show IP DHCP binding, I will not see anything because I have to also configure PC to get an IP address via DHCP, and I can do that by doing this configuration. So I have to, first thing is I have to disable IP routing on this router, and then I will enable the port by doing no shut. I will add that here, and then I will configure this interface or port to get an IP address via DHCP by doing this command. So hopefully after a few seconds or a minute, we will get an IP address from the DHCP server. I can actually go back here and just, okay, now we see that this IP address is assigned to a host, which is this PC here. I show IP interface brief. Nothing yet. Let's wait a couple of minutes. I do see that I have this PC has an IP, has the default gateway IP address, and now we see this message that says interface gig 0/0 assigned DHCP address, which is this, and the mask is /24, host name is PC1. Okay, that's correct. And if I do show IP interface brief again, I see that this IP is assigned to this interface. Let us ping our gateway. Yeah, that works. And if I do, yeah. Alright, so these are some of the verification commands that you can use here. Of course, I got this from this link, Cisco document. Show IP interface, show IP DHCP pool. Yeah, this is our pool 1, and list addresses 1. And okay, just some other configuration settings as well. List addresses 1. Yeah. So next is show IP. We already did this earlier. This one here. And there are other things that I just added here. Command verification commands that I just added here, but I'm not gonna go through them, or I can just actually try it. Yeah, no conflict. DHCP database. Yeah, nothing. DHCP server. Yeah, this one here. And we see DHCP request, discover, and offer act. We see that those packets, and yeah, automatic bindings. This one here, unfortunately, this iOS or router doesn't support this particular command, which is fine. This is basically just to show us that the ports the router is listening to. And of course, these are the commands that you can use to clear variables, DHCP variables. So you can clear DHCP binding, conflict, and server statistics. Alright, that's how you can configure a Cisco router as a DHCP server.